Hello, Booknerds. How are you doing on this fine day? I hope you're all doing well. We're going to be kicking off this Don't Die July with a horror Booktube tag. I will have some tags from other people going on in this because one of them is an optional thing. But I originally found this from a booktuber known as the Bookubus, and their link to their channel will be down below. But we're just gonna dive straight into this, okay? Okay, so question number one is, how and when did you get into horror? So growing up, I was never into horror. I was pretty much a poussoir when it came to horror. I'm sure reading books, like when you're little, you read like Goosebumps, stuff like that, but I didn't really get into horror until I was around about 20 years old. And it was purely by accident because I found a really cool cover of a book and I just took it with me traveling to uni. And that's how I originally got into that. So there we go. Number one is, what was the first horror book that you read? Well, considering that I don't consider Goosebumps as what that was, even though it's a good stories for young kids, I didn't really get into horror until I was 20. The first ever horror book that I actually ever read was the Necronomicon, filled with Lovecraft short stories, and the first one that I read was At the Mountains of Madness, and that was my first ever dive into horror / cosmic horror, which I very easily fell in love with. Question number three is, what horror-related goodness can we expect from your channel? So with my channel, it's pretty much a variety channel, though I do tend to lean more towards the horror kind of genre. So it's going to be a variety of horror. It's not going to be just one set of horror. We're going to dive into all the subgenres of there, with a bit of fantasy and everything else kind of thrown into it. Number question 4 is, do you have any favorite themes or subgenres within horror? I have a few. So I love my aquatic horror, my cosmic horror, but I've only just recently got into like the folklore sort of horror, because the things you can do with that is beautiful, and I'm very much enjoying a book at the moment that is pretty much folklore horror. So enjoying that quite a lot. Question number 5 is, name an underrated horror novel or author. So I'm going to name 3. So we've got Edgar Cantero, very underrated. While they don't just do like horror, they do like paranormal, they do a bit of comedy thrown into there. I would class him into like the subgenre of that. We've got Jack Kilbourne. His stuff is fucked up. Definitely needs to be more well known. And the other one is Carl John Lee. I say John, but it's John. Carl John Lee. They pretty much dive into like the splatterpunk sort of stuff. They do some good stuff. Number 6, name an overrated horror novel or author. Everyone's gonna hate me for this because I don't know why, but the most overrated person I can think of is Stephen King, because he is amazing, don't get me wrong, but he's so like, he's got this huge umbrella and this net thrown over so many people that everyone else underneath just don't get a chance. So like Jack Kilbourne and the people that I mentioned before, I accidentally found them like from a friend who was like, I stumbled upon this, and it was like, oh, you stumbled upon something. Well, everyone's like, oh yeah, Stephen King this, Stephen King. It's like, yes, his stuff's amazing, but maybe he could help some people who are underneath like this little net of his who can't be seen very well, and he can maybe like advertise them a little bit. But that's just my own personal thoughts. Everyone's gonna hate me with that. Recommend 3 of your favorite horror novels. So we've got The Horror at Martin's Beach by H.P. Lovecraft and Sonia Green, who was his wife. We've got The Blood Beast Mutations by Carl John Lee that I mentioned. And we've got The Troop by Nick Cutter. All kind of different aspects. So Horror at Martin's Beach is cosmic / aquatic horror. You've got The Blood Beast Mutations, which is splatterpunk, and then you got The Troop, which is very much body horror. Recommend a book for someone who is new to the horror genre. I would say The Blood Beast Mutations by Carl John Lee, and the reason why is it's depending if you go on, it's only a short book, it's under 100 pages. If you get physical, it's 99. Kindle, it's 93 pages. It's very short. Yes, it is splatterpunk, but it's not too much in your face. It's an easy read, and certain comments in it are funny. It's good. It's short, it's easy, and it's good for what it does. It's very well paced for such a small book. I think that would be a perfect little starter to go into. Question number 9, are there any books to film adaptations that you particularly love or hated? So, obviously being a Lovecraft fan, because I'm a weirdo, anything to do with Lovecraft, like games, movies, stuff like that, it's very difficult to put his work onto the screen, because it's all about the unknown and this thing that you just cannot describe, but it's so grotesque that it will drive you literally insane. Now, The Color Out of Space did it very well, which has Nicolas Cage in it. It was beautifully done. It hit the marks perfectly. It wasn't too much in your face, and at the same time, when you saw flashes of things, it was like, holy shit, what is that? And it was beautifully done. And Nicolas Cage, while he's not my favorite actor, he did very well, and I was actually genuinely impressed. So there's that. Number 10 is, how do you discover new or new to you horror books? So I find it through other booktubers, Goodreads, and the people in my community in Discord, because they're very nice, and whenever we find something new that we like and enjoy, they tend to put it in there because they're beautiful and lovely, and I appreciate them. Number 11, what was the last horror book that you bought? It was probably around 2 weeks ago, and it was The Creeper by A.M. Shine. So far, I'm very much enjoying the book. It's very well written, good pace, so fingers crossed it keeps going with that. Number 12 is the horror book. What horror book, sorry, is at the top of your wish list? Now, this book's been out for a while, but I've been eyeing it, and I have just not managed to grab a hold of it yet, because I don't know why, and that is The Terror by Dan Simmons, and I know it's also a series as well, but I would like to read it more than anything. And number 13, question number 13, which is tag some people, which I will be doing. So we got Ven, who we tend to read some stories or genres together half the time, and we have different opinions about a lot of things, which is something that I love between us. So we talk about our different opinions and our thoughts. So Ven, I'm tagging you in this, bud. Jalisa, I'm tagging you in this too. I know that you don't do a lot of videos, but you do a lot of blogging, which I enjoy because you blog very, very well. So I'm tagging this. And Luna, I'm tagging you in this too. I will be putting links down below for all their channels as well if you would like to check them out. They are amazing and beautiful and very nerdy, which we like. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Any thoughts or questions, let us know. It's been a very short video, very fast paced, but it is what it is. Much love, be good, and make some good decisions in life.